When I was 18, and in my final year of high school, I had a friend named Lesley, whose dad owned a rental car business. And after hours, and on Sundays, if there were any rentals left on the lot, usually non-descript K cars, she would take one for a drive. Dunno if her old man knew about it. Kinda doubt it. But that would be between him and her. I knew all this because she would pick me up to ride shotgun. Lesley liked to drive, listening to the AM radio, and she liked company. And she liked to drive. Up and down all the streets in town, along the Lakeshore Road, the Queen Elizabeth Highway, but also the rural roads north of the highway. It was on one of these jaunts, near a bump in the road called Palermo. Yeah, Palermo, that we saw the abandoned house. It was substantial, well back from the road in the middle of a farmer's field. So we decided to check it out. Bad idea. Really, really, really bad idea. We parked along Dundas Street and walked up to the house. It was a dull, overcast Sunday, and I hoped we'd get to the house before it started to rain. There was no one around, no one in sight. The house itself was a weather-beaten ruin with boarded-up windows, but it was easy to see it had once been a substantial home. We reached the front door just as it began to rain. "How do we get in?" Lesley asked, and for the first time I sensed a reluctance to proceed. "Well, let's see if the door's unlocked," I said. Not that I thought it would be, but it was. It was. "I don't like this. Somebody must be in there. Some homeless person. If there's anyone there, we'll leave. Besides, it's raining." That clinched it, and we quietly entered. It was late afternoon, but we could still see everything clearly. I had expected to find the place full of trash or with a pentagram scratched into the floor, but there was no garbage, nothing. The lack of garbage actually began to creep me out. "Let's go," Lesley said. It's still raining," I said back. "Come on, let's check out the upstairs." "Are those stairs safe?" "They'll be fine, come on." And I started up. Oh, how I wish I had listened to Lesley. Upstairs were 3 rooms, 2 with their doors wide open, revealing bare floorboards. We opened door number 3. Lesley screamed. I screamed. The floor was covered with naked bodies. Naked, headless bodies. We slammed the door, and then we saw the heads. The floating heads. They hovered 5 feet above the floorboards. Just heads, with swarthy, dirty faces, wet, greasy hair, and flashing red eyes. There was an open window at the end of the corridor, and they were streaming in from outside. There were a dozen of them. For a moment, they stared at us, and then they attacked. They flew at us, butted us, tried to bite us, all the while screaming vile and filthy threats. We stumbled down the stairs, but just as we were leaving, I had to turn and look. The naked, headless bodies were coming downstairs after us, running down as if they could see. How could they see without heads? Somehow we got outside. "Run, run," I bellowed. Pull your jacket over your head." I don't know how long they chased us. Not long, perhaps. We fell a few times and were soaking wet by the time we got to the car and peeled out of there. Fast. We were silent as we sped towards town. The only thing Lesley said was, "Those were the night floaters, weren't they?" All I said was, "Yup." What are the night floaters? The night floaters were a cult of evil people who could detach their heads from the trunks of their bodies whilst in a trance state, the heads then being able to fly or float at will. They were said to attack unsuspecting victims and sometimes kill them. They were also said to be able to animate their headless bodies in order to chase and strangle victims. A coven of night floaters was said to be active in town. I had been hearing about them my entire life, but had never encountered them till now. Lesley avoided me at school, and I began to get the creepy feeling that I was being watched. I noticed strange people with swarthy faces and unkempt hair hanging around my apartment building, and sometimes I thought I saw far away small white objects, heads perhaps, flitting through the air, through the night air. Then, one full moon night, I looked out at 3 a.m. and saw a headless figure standing on the street below. And if it had had a head, it would have been staring directly at my bedroom window. They knew where I lived, where we lived. I was going to warn Lesley, but then she rolled the rental car she was driving. No, she wasn't killed, but spent several months in hospital. I never saw her again. I left town at the first opportunity when I went off to school in the fall, and I avoided coming home for a full year until I was sure I'd been forgotten. But as I drove into town, I noticed a hitchhiker at the side of the road. A hitchhiker without a head. The night floaters may remove their heads, but they never forget. Question: do you still pick up hitchhikers? What? Have you lost your head? If this is your first visit to my channel, please consider subscribing. My name is Warren, and I write and tell original ghost stories and original horror stories featuring such cryptids as the night floaters, werewolves, and the black-eyed children. So again, please like and share this video, leave a comment, and consider subscribing. Till midnight, cheers. Pictures used in today's video, courtesy of Pix here, that's PX here, while the music was The Dreadful, The Dread, by that patron of the internet, Kevin MacLeod.